So we got meal timing basics. Does meal timing matter? So the short answer is yes, but really not as much as a lot of people will think. So here's the order of importance for nutrition. The first thing you want to focus on, overall calorie intake, whether your goal is fat loss, maintenance, muscle building, bulking. The total amount of calories is going to be the most important. The second most important thing, the amount of protein you get. Most people are severely under eating protein, so that's why we really have to focus on that one to make sure that you get enough. And then being consistent with those two things. That is probably like the top three most important. And then the quality of your food. Are you eating mostly whole foods, having some fun foods in there, or do you eat kind of just more like highly processed, kind of like lower, I guess, quality of foods? And then finally, the last thing on this hierarchy is meal timing. So it's at the very, very, very bottom. So most people will see great results just by focusing on calories and protein and consistency before worrying about anything else. All right, so how many meals per day is best? So there isn't a magic number here, but the most successful people fall into one of these three categories. So either just 3 big meals a day, or this is the one I fall under, 3 meals a day plus 1 to 3 snacks a day. I love having 300 to 500 calorie meals each day and then having like 200 to 300 calorie snacks a day. And that's really easy for me. It makes it so I'm not hungry throughout the day. And I know that I have like a snack in a couple hours if I'm ever kind of like feeling munchy or have that food noise. Another category successful people fall into is having just 4 to 5 smaller meals each day. So the best meal frequency is one that keeps you full. So you're not constantly feeling hungry. You don't have those cravings. You're not feeling like you're starving all the time. And then one that fits your schedule, one that you can actually stick to. So obviously, if you work full time and you're a therapist, you probably can't have like 5 to 6 smaller meals a day because you're in sessions all day. So you have to find something that fits your schedule. So maybe the 3 big meals a day is a better fit for you. One that helps you hit your calorie goal. So if you decided to do 1 meal a day and then fast the rest of the day, but you're only getting like 800 calories in that 1 meal, maybe that's not a great fit for you. So you want to make sure that you are pacing yourself so you're able to stay within your calorie goal. And then one that helps you hit your protein goal as well. So if it's hard for you to get in enough protein in 3 meals, then maybe you want to try the 3 meals plus 1 to 3 snacks. So that way you can spread the protein out throughout more options through the day. But just keep in mind that 1,800 calories is still 1,800 calories, whether you eat it in 1 meal or 6 meals. So protein timing, and this is probably the most important nutrient to spread out. However, the old science has been debunked where a lot of people would say, oh, your body can only handle 30 grams of protein at a time. So you have to make sure that you split it up and not have more than 30 grams of protein, because if you have more than 30 grams of protein, then it's just going to go to waste. And that has been debunked. There's been multiple studies that show that it's actually quite higher. It's closer to between like 50 to 100 grams of protein, up to maybe like no limit. So you can definitely have much more protein in one sitting if that is easier for you to hit your protein goal throughout the day. What I recommend doing is aiming for 25 to 40 grams of protein per meal. I mean, if you had 3 meals a day and you had 40 grams of protein per meal, that's an easy 120 grams of protein, and then you don't have to really stress about it the rest of the day. Have high protein snacks on hand. Anywhere between like 10 to 30 grams of protein per snack makes things really easy. And then also the total daily amount of protein is still the most important versus when you eat it throughout the day. So total amount is more important than the timing. So pre-workout nutrition, and this can be anywhere between 30 minutes before your workout up to 3 hours before your workout. So you don't need to eat right before your workout to get good benefits from eating healthy around your workouts. So anywhere between 30 minutes to 3 hours before training. You do want to have a good protein source. Make sure that your body has the fuel to recover and to rebuild and repair itself. And then you want a good carbohydrate source, so that way you have energy to push through those workouts. And then you want to make sure that you have moderate fluid, so that way you're hydrated, you're not going into your workout dehydrated. What you want to avoid are huge meals right before training. I don't know if any of you guys have ever eaten a big meal and then tried to go and work out after. Not great. You feel sluggish, you feel bloated, you don't feel like you want to push very hard because you feel like you're going to throw up. It's not a fun thing to do. And then also you want to avoid foods that upset your stomach. I've made this mistake multiple times where I would eat spicy tuna right before jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, why did I eat spicy tuna right before jiu-jitsu? This is the worst thing, because my stomach was like burning the entire time. And I'm like, why did I do that? And then I would keep doing it, and I've never learned my lesson. So I would recommend trying to avoid foods that upset your stomach right before training. But the benefits of proper pre-workout nutrition is better energy, performance, workouts, and then better recovery afterwards. And then some examples of pre-workout meals: rice and chicken. Everybody knows that one. If you work out in the morning, Greek yogurt and fruit is a great option, especially if you are eating closer to your workout, like more towards the 1 hour to 30 minutes before your workout, just because the fruit will digest pretty quickly and give you some carbs in your system really quick. And then a turkey sandwich is always good. Protein oatmeal, that one's one of my favorites. I love the brand Overnight Oats. You just add a protein shake to that, and then it's an easy meal to take with you on the go. You can even eat it while you're driving to the gym. Eggs and whole grain toast. You could do like avocado toast here with eggs on it. And then a protein bagel. That one is also one of my favorite. There's a brand called like Thomas that has 20 grams of protein per bagel. And so I literally just like eat a bagel, and I love it that I don't have to have like a protein shake on the side or eggs on the side. I can just have that bagel. And it fuels my workouts pretty well. Post-workout nutrition. So what should you eat after training? This anabolic window has also been debunked. In the past, it used to have been said that you need a protein shake right after training, like within 20 to 30 minutes, or you're going to go catabolic. So that means your muscles are going to start breaking down. And that is just not true. They did studies, and the anabolic window is actually up to 24 to 48 hours post-training. So it's much, 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 much longer than what people used to think about the 20 to 30 minutes after training. So you don't need to sprint to your shaker bottle right when you finish your training. Just make sure that within a few hours after your training, you have a good carbohydrate source and a good protein source. An example of post-workout meals: protein shake and a banana. Super simple, super easy. And then chicken and rice, that's a basic staple. Ground turkey and potatoes. I love potatoes before or after workouts. I think that is a great source of carbs for you. And then Greek yogurt and fruit, also great post-workout. When meal timing matters most is if you have really hard training sessions. Like if you are pushing yourself to the max, if you're doing HIIT, if you're doing any sort of intense training, maybe leg days, you need to make sure that you have enough food in your stomach. You don't want to go into those kind of training sessions fasted. So I'd recommend eating at least like an hour before those. People who are training for endurance events. So we got a few people training for high roxes right now. We have half marathoners, we have 5K people. So if you're training for endurance events, meal timing will matter. Competitive athletes, we do have quite a few jiu-jitsu people, a few MMA fighters, and a couple boxers. We actually just signed on a bare knuckle boxer, so that will be exciting to watch him. But if you're a competitive athlete, you definitely need to focus on your meal timing there. And then if you are focusing on building muscle, so that kind of goes back to the hard training sessions. If you are trying to build as much muscle as possible, meal timing can play a small effect there. And then if you're having multiple workouts per day, there is nothing worse than going through your day and realizing that you only have like 100 or 200 calories after your last training session to eat, because you're like, oh crap, I've worked out 3 times today and now I only have 100 calories left. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to be starving. So meal timing matters, so that way you can spread those out throughout the day and make sure that you're getting the most out of your training sessions pre and post workout. And that's more for like MMA fighters or people who have like a fight or a competition coming up. Benefits of meal timing can include better performance, recovery, energy, and then better hunger control, especially if you're an athlete that has to make weight for something. That plays a huge role in there. But honestly, I hesitated doing this presentation at all just because with how little meal timing is for general people's overall success. The average person trying to lose weight doesn't really need to focus on meal timing. It only provides a small advantage compared to the total calorie control. So if you can't even nail down the total amount of calories and total amount of protein for the day, I don't want you stressing about when to eat, how much to eat, and stuff like that. Just focus on total calorie intake and how much protein. Try to keep things as simple as possible. You don't need to stress yourself out. Obviously, if you're feeling kind of like drained in your workouts, you don't feel like you can push hard, then you can talk to your coach for tips on how to maybe use your nutrition to help you with that. Here's the things that you should actually focus on. So we want to focus on the big rocks, put those in there first. Instead of stressing over eating every 2 hours, the main thing I want you to focus on is hitting at your calorie target or slightly under if you're in a fat loss phase. If you're in a maintenance phase, then you want to hit right on your target. If you're in a bulking phase, then you want to hit either at your target or slightly over your target. And then you want to either eat at your protein target or over your protein target. So most people who are in this program, your protein goal is the bare minimum amount of protein you should be getting each day, and you can hit over that. So we really want you to at least get your target, and then you can eat as much protein as you want to above that. So either at or under your calories or at or over your protein. And then eat mostly whole foods. Try to have whole foods so that way you have fiber. It is easier, or it's harder to digest, and it keeps you fuller longer and will kind of like prevent those cravings throughout the day. Staying hydrated, that's a big thing that you need to focus on. When you're dehydrated, you just don't feel good. You have brain fog. You just feel a little bit sluggish, low motivation, low energy. So hydration is very important. And then making sure that you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night will be huge. And then just being consistent with those things. So those are the main things I'd have you focus on. Meal timing can go after that. But remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And it's good to follow a nutrition plan for 6 months versus like imperfectly versus a perfect nutrition plan for 6 days. Being consistent is the best thing to get you results in the long term. All right. Is there anything that you guys learned on this presentation that surprised you at all? Or is this stuff that you guys already kind of know?
It wasn't for me anything surprising, but it was validating the last couple of slides. I was a little worried when you first started, just to say like, here's the different combos. And I was like, I try to aim for like 3 meals and then like a couple of snacks throughout the day, just so I can make sure that I don't go hungry and like food noise comes in to like binge or like say, oh, I want all these unhealthy snacks. So it was nice to be validated. That was my initial question when you went over that, was like, can I do a flex of those? Because some days, best of intentions, I don't hit that, or my meals are a little bit higher. So I'm like, well, I can't sneak in a snack. So yeah, I just try to aim for like the calorie goal and the protein, and just confirmation after the last couple of slides to focus on that versus trying to do everything else. So
yep, no, I definitely like just keep it as simple as possible. Most people don't really even need to focus on meal timing at all. I would say like only people that are like cutting weight maybe, just because you don't want to be starving throughout the day or by the end of the day. Other than that, like you should be fine as long as you just eat normally, try to eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and then stay within your calories. You'll be good.
And that's honestly what's worked best and what I've loved about your program, to be honest, is the simplicity about it. I've done different programs in the past where it's like you have to do so many fats, so many carbs, so many protein, and like it gets overwhelming. So I honestly love the simplicity of this, and that's why I think I've had so much success in the last like 7 months. So I appreciate that.
Well, good. That makes me happy, because I've cut weight for over 20 professional fights, and I've never tracked a single carb. I've never tracked a single fat. I've only tracked calories, protein. And so it's like, okay, if I could do that at a professional level, then most people can do that at like a fitness level. So I think people just make it a little bit more complicated than what it needs to be. So I'm glad that you found that a little bit more doable for you. Anybody else find anything surprising?
I think I have to agree with Cassie on that too, because anytime I hear like people tracking fats and carbs, I feel overwhelmed just even the thought of it.
Yeah.
And to have to figure that out. So I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I think I literally did it one day ever, and I was like, this is so silly. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm like, either I'm not going to track at all, or I'm going to just track calories and protein. So I like to keep it simple.
And then on timing, one thing I've noticed for me, because I usually eat dinner pretty early.
Yeah.
And usually by dinner time, I've hit my calories. And so I kind of have to stop after dinner. And I've noticed the earlier I do eat dinner, I kind of find that it shows better on the scale for me than when I eat later in the night.
Yeah.
And it's probably just holding on to the water, like you've mentioned before.
Yeah, it could be.
Longer.
It could just be that if you ate later, then you kind of went over on your calories, or maybe you didn't pick like the best food choices. Typically when people eat later, they're looking for like treats or snacks or stuff like that. So if you're eating that later at night, your body could hold on to a little bit of water. But yeah, I was taking something where I couldn't eat 2 hours before bed. And so doing that, I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. And then I would wake up feeling like a little bit lighter and a little bit more like energized, rather than feeling like my stomach was digesting food all night. So that could also play a role. All right, I swear somebody sent a chat, but I'm not seeing it. Continuous chat is turned off. Maybe I turned it off. I don't know. I swear somebody said something while I was in the middle of presenting. Anyways, anybody else learn anything surprising? Kim, Melissa, what about you guys? You guys are people who probably need the nutrient timing because you guys are always running.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things, and it was, like Cassie said, kind of validating of like what we are doing, and especially if we're like training or running. So it's like we try to eat something like an hour before we run. So because especially for me, if I eat too soon before I run, then it's like I just feel like I have like a big old rock in my gut. So like having that hour, but then it's still good timing. So it's not like, oh, now I waited too long and it's not going to help me.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think one of the most surprising things to me with meal timing is having to eat something either 30 minutes up to 3 hours before your training. I used to think it had to be like 30 to 20 minutes before your training, or your body's not going to be able to use it as energy. And so it's nicer to me to be like, okay, I could still use food that I ate like 2 hours ago for the energy, for my fuel. And I don't feel like I have to hurry and eat something right before I head out to the gym. So for me, that was like, once I kind of like read the research on that years ago, I was like, okay, this is nice, because then I don't have to feel like I'm constantly eating like right before or right after. Anybody else? No? Have any of you guys been doing the step challenge? It ends today. Yes, we got a couple smiles, thumbs up. Blair, what about you? No? Blair. Okay, cool. Well, it ends today, and the next month we're going to do a hype and hydration challenge. So look out for that. Gabby will be posting a calendar today in the group. But basically it'll just be a gallon challenge. So you'll be drinking a gallon of water every day, and then hype. So we're going to be talking positively to ourselves. So hype and hydration this month. Okay. Alrighty. Well, you guys are awesome, and I hope you have a great rest of your month. Couple hours left.
Thank you.